I was not planning on watching this show. I was not. It was not on my list.
So why'd you watch it?
Because it was trending. It was
Twitter,
trending
my
quickly.
Twitter too. Yep.
And so I was like, well, Virginia King, I was going to maybe, because HBO, I have HBO, I could watch on demand anytime. It's not like I have to DVR it.
Right.
But I started watching it because everyone's like, let me just see.
Yep.
And the opening was like a black and white silent film.
Yeah.
Right? And I was like, this is interesting.
Yeah.
And, two men on horses, one wearing black, one wearing white. And the black horse guy is chasing the guy, and they're covered, their faces are covered, so you can't, just white and black, boom, 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 boom. And then it's like, you don't know what's happening. And then the black person dressed in black is actually a black person. And you go, oh, shoot.
Right.
You know this is trouble. But no, he's the hero. He's the hero. The guy dressed in white is the scoundrel. He's the thief. And the white people whose town he's coming to rescue, they're happy to see the black man. And he's there to rescue, and they're like, thank you for doing this, know, and they're like, let's lynch this white guy. And they're like, and he's like, no, let justice play out.
Right.
And you're going, wow, what the hell kind of alternate universe is this? And then you realize it's an alternate universe.
Right. Literally.
That's what Watchmen is. But what happened next, I didn't expect. So then it goes into what is Oklahoma, 1921.
Okay.
And if you're black in America and you listen to the Karen Hunter show, Oklahoma, 1921, you know that date because you know that is the date of the Black Wall Street massacre. You know it. And when you start to see actually it be unveiled, I wasn't ready.
Sure.
So I'm just going to say I wasn't ready. It messed me up. It took me a minute to recover because what they're actually showing is what I've been talking about. A town, not just a thriving town, not just a town with banks and schools and post offices and 2 movie theaters, because this started in a movie theater. But you don't imagine that the movie theater would be black-centric. And then it don't, because again, if you've never really seen something like this, how do you imagine it?
Of course.
So the movie theater was a black movie theater where, of course, the hero is going to be black because that's how you raise your black children to see themselves as heroes. And I was like, whoa. And then you're seeing the haberdashery, and then you're seeing the violence, and then you're going, oh, my God, this is the destruction of black. And this is what it looks like from the inside, and I never thought I would see it. And I'm struggling to this day right now because it was so masterfully artistically done. And I just kudos to the folk at HBO who also are the same folk that were looking at doing an alternate universe with slavery.
Right, with Benioff and Weiss, yeah.
Don't do that.
Yes.
I'm just we're good.
Yeah.
Your last 2 episodes of Game of Thrones is enough to disqualify you from ever doing anything like. But this right here, and I'm not a big comic book person. I don't know if you.
Me neither.
Okay, so I'm not familiar with Watchmen other than the movie, and now this. But it historically. So I'm just gonna read a little bit from Forbes magazine. They had an article on it, and they said the episode opens with the Tulsa massacre of 1921, which has the KKK storming Black Wall Street, murdering all the black people they find there, even firing guns and dropping bombs from planes. Yes, they were firebombed. This is a fact. Okay. He said it's a harrowing, and this is the writer is Paul Tassi. He said it's a harrowing sequence, and I thought it really set the tone for the series if this was the kind of alt history that was being cooked up in a flashback. But it's not alt history. It actually happened. The Tulsa race massacre is real and was as horrific as what's seen on screen here. He said, millennial dude that I am, I had no idea, particularly because this doesn't seem to be taught in almost any U.S. history class, and the entire incident being swept under the rug of the past, despite it being the worst incident of racial violence ever in the country with hundreds killed. And those attack planes, that actually happened too. I was stunned to learn that this was a true historical event that I had simply never heard of. And yes, it really does set the tone of the show from then on. I sat last night stunned because I never thought I would see on American television such an apt, complete depiction of something that I had only read about, studied, of course, but to see it play out with Oh, I mean, in just a short period of time, I was enthralled and connected to that woman playing the piano,
Right.
and her little boy,
Right.
and her husband.
Right.
And it didn't take but maybe 10 minutes for us to be completely connected to them,
Mm-hmm.
to then see what happens next.
So was it a bittersweet experience for you?
No, I'm mad now. Now I'm super angry.
But I mean, sweet only in terms of happy that it was.
Oh, yeah. You know what? Somebody said, well, because I said the importance of controlling our narrative. You know,
Yes.
this is, and someone said, well, we still aren't controlling our narrative because white people, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, we got to get out of our own way, because here's the reality. Part of what we do on social media, whether it's Oscar So White, shout out to April Rain, and her movement to make people aware of how racist the Academy has been
Yes.
over the past several decades, to how we show up on social media and like the Confederate States or whatever they were trying to do, that we shut that down. I don't know if it's temporary or not, but HBO had to capitulate. So while we may not have put the producing into it, we definitely shape and tell people what we want to see, because unfortunately for them, we over-index
Yeah.
in watching. So
Yeah.
you got to pay attention to the black eyeball. And if
Right.
you don't, you do it at your own peril,
Yeah.
because we're here now. Once we recognize our power, yeah, we do control our own narrative, because we can control our own narrative, and we must control our own narrative. I mean, you think about airplanes in the 1920s. I don't know too many black people today that have airplanes.
Yeah.
But several people, 18 doctors, two movie theaters, two movie theaters where black people didn't have to sit in the balcony or sit in a separate section. It was all
And the content. Yeah.
right. The content was feeding people empowering things
And
and
images. Yeah.
and the wealth. We're talking about oil. I don't know if there's a community today that rivals Black Wall Street in America today. So
And to think the 10,000 number, that's more than 3, because I had the same response as you did. I was stunned when Karen said the number 10,000. That's more than 3 times the victims of 9/11.
yeah, it's the largest massacre in the history of this country, and we don't even teach it. So how does that work? And that's not they estimate, right, the deaths differently.
Of course.
But if you take the sum total of the businesses and the people and the impact, we're talking about millions of dollars in real estate, 10,000 black people left homeless, but they don't even know, because they didn't count them, right? These people were not counted.
Right.
Like, they weren't seen,
They
other
weren't seen,
than
they were erased, yeah.
who are these uppity Negroes, and
Yeah.
how dare they?